everyone. I want to thank everyone who's here on time for attending our first official Fempreneur Roundtable. I am your host, Chloe Love. I am also the founder of Women with Voices, and I have these lovely two amazing Fempreneurs, Vanessa Copes. Coppice, yes. I'm so sorry, Vanessa.
No, you're. Trust me. On a daily basis, it's butchered. It's okay.
And Joelle Garguilo. Garguilo. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that.
Anything.
All right. Yes. So I wanted to first let you guys know a little information about Women with Voices. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we are everything women's empowerment. We have initiatives from mental health awareness, sexual liberation, family initiatives, and my initiatives, which are fempreneurship and financial literacy. At the end of this event, we will be announcing our first annual grant. So stay tuned for that. But I want to start off with you guys. So, Vanessa, and I wanted to tell you guys as well. So I'll be asking you guys questions as we spoke before. But if you have questions for each other, this is very much so a roundtable conversation. Jump in and ask each other questions as well. And just, as relaxed and organic as possible. So we can just get the most out of it, right? And everyone can get their questions answered and the information out.
Awesome.
So I want to start with Miss Coppice. I got to write this down. Please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, first of all, for having this and hosting this incredible opportunity for us to just talk and and just women coming together to empower one another. So thank you for that.
Thank you for
I am Vanessa Coppice, and I'd like to think of myself as a student of life, meaning that I'm just a woman on a mission to live my absolute very best life and bring as many women as I can along with me for the ride. I am a mother of 2 boys. And I would also like to think that I'm raising feminists and men who support women and understand that women are their equals. And so obviously this conversation is right up my alley. It's always incredible to just see other women who are just go-getters out there coming together to lend their voices so that more women can see what it actually looks like to be empowered, because as they say, empowered women empower women. Absolutely. And there's a list of accolades that people tell me that I'm too humble, and it's not about it's not about humility. It's just that I really, I'm here to serve. I'm a woman of God, and I am here to be of service to other women. And that may not look like service to a few people, but at the end of the day, I know where my intentions lie, and I am extremely ambitious and a go-getter. I started working for a publication 8 years ago that today I own.
Okay. Well, let's just let that settle in. I started working for a publication 8 years ago. I am now the owner of. So kudos to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please let us know how that happened.
It's really simple in the sense that, from the very young age of 13, I remember sitting in a classroom with my best friend, just kind of visualizing what our future would look like in the Dominican Republic, which is where I'm originally from. And I just knew in my gut, I just knew in my gut that that was not where I would be. I told her, she said, I'd probably become a lawyer. And I said, that's great, but I just don't see myself here. I see myself writing for a New York City magazine in, sometime in the future. And I could see that vision so clearly in my head. Like I literally have the image of the New York City skyline, me in this high rise, just typing away, in this very pink and orangey sunset where I was just, typing away my stories as a journalist, because I've always been very drawn to writing and storytelling. So I knew that from a very young age, but I went into teaching. It was predictable. It was just the route that, quite frankly, is now what I really like root my training of dealing with people, dealing with children, I learned a lot of psychology, and it's quite frankly helped me tremendously in my marketing. And, when the opportunity came to contribute to a publication, it happened. And I did that for several years. Then I became the digital marketing director for the publication, then the social media strategist. And I just knew that there was always more. And then the opportunity came almost 2 years ago where the previous owners were done. They were ready to move on to other projects. And I had a knee-jerk reaction where I said, okay, if I don't go for this right now, but it wasn't even the intention of owning. People are like, oh, you always know. I never wanted to own it. However, I did. And I said, if you ever want to sell it, know that I am interested. And within a few months, the conversation started, and lo and behold, here we are. I am proud to say that, Bella has now gone from national to international. We have expanded into several countries, and which is super exciting. And had COVID not hit, we would have already launched our Latina version, which is the Spanish version of the magazine. But God willing, that's coming in the next year.
Oh, so, it's coming. I mean,
100%. It's coming.
We know it's coming.
100%. Manifesting something right now.
Someone's manifesting. It got her from an idea in DR to I work here, now I own here.
Yeah.
So if manifestation was a person, it was Vanessa.
Vision board. Where's the vision?
It's really funny that you say that because people call me you hear my dog in the background for everyone. This is a live segment, so my dog is in the background. When I've always been called like a manifestation queen. I have, from a very young age, I was taught to make vision boards. I've been making vision boards since I was 9. It was, I guess, my mother's way of teaching me how to manifest, and it's just it's been embedded in me. At 42 years old, I create a vision board every single year. And it's really remarkable to see when you look back and you can kind of like check off things that you have had there for, because sometimes I just carry them over the following year. Okay, well, this didn't happen and I still want that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see if we can make that happen.
You said 42 years old.
I'm 42. Yes.
Oh, well, you look amazing. Did you manifest your youth too? Did you think about that?
I think I have great genes. I just think the genes.
Vision board.
We need some mail to us.
I think that the genes and honestly, this past year, I made a very conscious decision to take really good care of myself, which I had not been doing. I had been ignoring my health for a very long time. My husband and I both decided to do it together. He's lost 54 pounds. I am down 42. So I think the weight loss is probably why my skin.
Can you adopt?
My skin looks
right.
I'll live with you, Vanessa. Chloe, what are we doing?
I just told my husband today. I'm like, can you believe I only have because we got on this nutritional program. It was very difficult the first 3-4 days. But quite honestly, when it really is, and you hear this from everyone who tells you when you consciously eat, your life changes. And that's really what we've done. We've just been eating consciously as opposed to just eating from, and a lot has stemmed from that. So I'm very proud of that. Yes.
I know this might be going off topic, but I'm not sure who else is here. Just tell us the name of the program.
It's actually called njdiet.com.
Okay.
njdiet.com. And they do, they analyze your organs and what you're supposed to be eating versus what you're not, how you're digesting food. And quite honestly, the best investment that we've ever made in just we have 2 young children. I know, my dog. We have 2 young children and we couldn't run with them. 6 months ago, I couldn't go up and down the stairs without like losing my breath, and you need to leave right now. I am so sorry. I hope that everybody, let me just kick him out of my bedroom for 2 seconds. I will be right back. Joelle, you take the lead right now.
And I'm just sending this to everybody too. It was NJ Diet. Somebody said, "Can you put that in the chat?" I just put that in the chat. I'll be looking that up later as well.
Well, in the meantime, we were going to wait, but how about you introduce yourself?
I feel people. So boring now. I have to tell you, Chloe, it's very hard for people like, I am this person, I am that. That's never been my nature, but I feel like we're all probably on Clubhouse, and after Clubhouse, like now we all have it down pat, right? So,
yeah, right.
What are the basics? Emmy Award-winning reporter and producer based in New York. I've been with NBC for probably about 12 years now, but I used to work in accounting and finance prior to, it was another world, another life, it feels like. But I always wanted to do something in TV, and I never really wanted to admit it, because when you tell people like, oh, I'm going to be an accountant, when you're younger, it just sounds good, right? People are like, oh, that's a great job. You'll always have a job. You'll make good money. You'll get a job right out of college. So you just kind of go with emotions and you do these things because you're like, oh, this will make my parents happy. This is what I'm supposed to do. I've always wanted financial stability. I don't like, I had an older sister who would always take things from me. So I would have like 5 jobs even when I was 12, so I could buy my own things and nobody could take them from me. That's how it was. And then my company wound up going under, and it was like, okay, well, what do we do? Do we take another finance job, or do we go for this dream? And I was lucky enough where I did get a severance. So I took that severance and I invested it in myself. And it's the first time I really ever took a risk, but it was almost like a forced risk, which is kind of interesting when I think about it. So I learned how to do everything. And, you can't just show up somewhere and be like, hi, like put me on TV. So I knew, okay, if I want to do this thing, I need to learn how to shoot. I need to learn how to edit. I need to learn how to write. Like in front of the camera, I always loved that part. But everything else, like I have a tripod right here. I have all my equipment behind us. All of this stuff, I was like, what do you mean take a tripod out? I had no idea. So I learned how to do all of that. And I did a 4-week program, which I extended to 8 weeks, which I extended to a semester, which I extended to the full year, which I'm still paying off 12 years later. It really was a great investment. And then I had to make the decision, do I take the last part of the CPA exam, because I had 3 parts passed, or do I go on this job interview that I got? And at the time it was with NBC Mobile. Or anybody even had these iPhones. We were doing cell phone video. I went on the job interview. I thought I bombed it. I was like, oh my God, I bombed the writing. I did. And then my former boss called me and she was like, Joelle, 67% of it is personality. And, you got the job. And I was like, I essentially took like a 200% pay cut. I took a 200%. Ridiculous. Like, just I'll pay you. Let me work there. I hustled. And I think
that's how that was. That's how it is. For anybody who's listening, that is exactly how it is. Yeah.
Trust me, it's the truth. And,
it is.
I just hustled my way to to the Today Show. So, I was at NBC. If my hours were 1:30 to 9:30 before, I would have to check in. I'd be out shooting after my hours. I would stay there editing. And I just kept doing this where I made a name for myself. So the first time I ever did live TV, it was opening the show, New York Live. We used to be live at 5. And, the EP at the time, she was like, oh, you want to try it? Okay, great. Do 2 stories for us. And then you could go down here and you could open the show. And like, they had no idea. I had no experience. I was just like, yeah, I could do it. And I did it somehow.
Absolutely.
I made the mistake of telling them like that was my first time doing live TV, which I shouldn't have done. But and then my second time doing live TV was with the Today Show. And it's interesting how my career has kind of just like taken little turns. it used to be, give me all the celebrity stuff, give me the entertainment. And I love that. I do. I still love it with all my heart. But especially over the past couple of years, I've really started focusing on small businesses, on female owned businesses, minority owned businesses. I've kind of found my voice in giving others a platform to share their voice. And it's really been the most rewarding time of my career.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, God, I'm like, it probably sounds so corny to say, but it feels better when you're making a difference and helping other people.
Absolutely.
And we just saved an amazing small business in Harlem. It's called Grandma's Place, and it's been the greatest joy of my career. And Grandma Dawn, we now talk like 4 times a day. And this is a woman who was going to have to close her toy shop, and it's a toy and a bookshop that means so much more than we could ever understand to her community and a larger community. And then we wound up doing this GoFundMe. And then I called in a favor from one of my friends who I had done a couple of stories on. He has a huge audience. And I just said, would you mind putting this out? And he was like, oh, not only will I put this up, but let's go there. Let me meet her. I'll talk to her. And then because of that, we were able to raise over $50,000. But it's more so now. It's like she just texted me. She's doing stuff with the organization Color of Change. She, people got wind of what she wants to do. She wants to put a bookmobile and make sure that there are 28,000 children living in homeless shelters in Harlem alone. And she wants to make sure that all of those kids have toys, they have books, they have what other kids have.
And she's able to do all of this.
It's amazing.
You gave that platform. Yeah, because you came in and utilized everything that you've done.
It's the greatest.
And said, my career is more than just me. I'm not here to just serve my own purpose and for my own benefits. I'm here to also make sure that my platform gives those platforms that need it. So that's amazing. That's really an amazing thing that you're doing. But I wanted to touch on something. When people think of fempreneurs or entrepreneurs, they think of you're a one-person business, or you've created this thing, or you do. I love the both of you guys' stories because it shows that process of becoming an entrepreneur. Vanessa, you worked for a publication that you now own. And you worked in finance and decided, I don't even want to do anything in this way anymore. I'm going to follow that dream as I was a young girl. And even though you work for NBC, you're still very much so an entrepreneur because you're serving your purpose. And if that place no longer served you, you would take it somewhere else. So I say that to say this. When you have wanting to be a reporter or anything along those lines, you're still very much so an entrepreneur. And it doesn't resonate to people that way because they think product, or they think that you have to own something, or you are still an entrepreneur if you work with a company or a big enterprise, but you're serving your purpose. Because if that company no longer serves the purpose of what you want, you take your services somewhere else. It's more of a partnership, if you will. I'm working along the lines with.
You know what I mean? You own your stories, really.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at my one camera, look at my other camera right here. So even the last couple of stories that I had air on the 3rd hour of the Today Show, I found them, I produced them, I shot them, I cut them, I did everything start to finish. So you're still owning your own stuff. And guess what? Yes, I am now able to be a freelancer, which I've never had before.
Yes.
So I'm able to now, you have to understand, even if you're somewhere that you don't necessarily, it's not like your dream to be there, but plant your seeds there and learn there, because you could take all of that with you no matter where you go. So when I start a podcast now, I know exactly how to do it because I could I could cut myself. I could, you could take all of those skills. So nothing is wasted time. Nothing is wasted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Vanessa kind of came back in the middle of the conversation.
I had a dog before my kids, trust
me.
No, you know what it is? It's unreal how anytime that I am home on a Zoom call, he makes a magical entrance. I have a rescued pit bull.
Because he has stuff to say.
I have a rescued pit bull, and he just finds a way to just, and you're like, what just happened? And but mind you, my husband is downstairs, and I'm like, where are you when all of it, because he know this was happening. So yes, this is my life.
While knowing that I'm on a Zoom and just let the dog out.
Exactly. Yeah, just let the dog.
I can relate.
No, when I heard you speaking right now, Joelle, it reminded me a lot of my own journey, which is really, it's really important to reiterate the process, right? Because we get so focused on the end result. And
I was just about to ask you guys that about the process each. Yes.
I always chuckle when people are like, "Oh, you are not," and all I do, and I'm like, now I chuckle with grace. Yes. But it was like, if you only knew the crow that I have eaten, how many years I worked for free, how many negotiations I've made with my husband, with my children about where this is headed, to trust me, to believe in me, to literally, I'm running late, but it's because if I don't do this one thing, it won't lead to the following thing, which is important. It's on a constant day. I mean, now I can, and I'm still not done, like the work is never done. In the media world, it never ends. We take off because we have learned to draw boundaries, but this is an ever evolving, constant, ever changing world. I mean, it can literally, I always tell people, it can consume you if you allow it to, because it is that big of a monster. There's always a story. There's always someone.
Absolutely.
But it has not come without true. There is. I always say people in media are made of a special kind of cloth, because there is so much that it all entails. When I hear you talking about cutting, editing, like, girl, I have done it all. I have carried my tripod. I have recorded myself and okay, so what's the remote that works so that when I'm hosting, I can still click on off like myself, and it still looks like I have a camera person, but there is no camera person, but I gotta make it work because it's the one-man show here, and the ring light and the this and the that. I mean, I have done it all. I have shown up at events that I thought I was a special guest for. This is when I used to work for the previous owners, that I thought I was like a guest, and it ends up, did you bring your camera, by the way? Oh, sure. Here, it's in my car. Let me go get it. And then I ended up being the photographer for the, there has been so much of,
you just gave two good points that I want to circle back on.
Sure.
So I've been repeating what you're saying, I've been the camera person where I'm pressing the button to make sure that it starts on time. I edited, as Joelle said, I've done this, I've done that. It's so important that people are hearing this, because there's so many times where people have an idea and they're like, well, I don't have this part, or I don't have someone to do this for me. And those are excuses, people. If you don't have it, find a way to make it happen. It may not be as perfect or at the level of where you want it once you start, but start and grow, because your audience loves to see that growth. They love to see the first video was blurry, but that fifth video, it looks like something, because you'll start to attract the things that you need, the people that you need, the information that you need. You'll learn, but you have to start, and you can't make the excuses of, I don't know how to do this. Google is a university. Google University will teach you anything. But more you don't have to be the top editor. You better learn how to use one of these programs.
100%. But more importantly, I also feel that you need to just understand the ins and outs of what it is that you're building and what you're running, so that no one can tell you what you don't know. You should know. And, when the opportunity came for me to buy this, I was like, well, I've literally done it all. So this is like a no-brainer. The one thing that scared me the most was the whole managing of like an editorial calendar, because obviously there was someone who managed all of that. And I just simply told her, you're not leaving me, right? Like, you're staying. we're going to work together. We're going to figure this out. Cause I don't want, this is like the one thing I don't want to be responsible for. But when it comes, even to this day, if I have to get behind the lens, I'm perfectly comfortable doing it because I know how to do it. I've done it multiple times before. And my thing with that is that you need to know because it is yours.
Absolutely.
And it still has to get done. Right. So if you can't rely on the person who's supposed to be doing it, then it has to be you. And we're good. And we're good. And you just have to keep that moving forward because the job still has to get done. And my team knows. I'm like, I will always find a way.
Absolutely.
I just make. I'm not sure who's all in the room, but even just what I have observed in my in my career, so often I think a lot of people. I do it too. We're always like, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect.
Yes.
No, because it really just needs to be done, and that's it.
Absolutely.
So often, I hate to say it, but like talent isn't necessarily what always brings people to the top. It's hustle, it's drive, and it's just having something. Like closed mouths don't get fed. I want
they don't.
Hear that and remember that closed mouths don't get fed. If you feel something, if you want something, you have to say it. You have to go for it. You have to put it on your vision board. You have to manifest it. You have to do those things because if you don't, somebody else is, and lean on people. Like we are here because we all have a common love, and women helping women. I'm sorry, but there is nothing better,
like it,
nothing stronger. Like when we
100%.
come do anything. Like I have my mic muted because my husband is in charge of his children, our children, and they were hanging on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like women are amazing. There she is. I'm just gonna mute real quick.
But that's it. That's just it. It's at the end of the day, the job still has to get done. You said something that reminded me of something that I always say, when it comes to taking risk or chances and pushing forward, because I just saw a comment popped up that I just keep moving forward. At the end of the day, you have to remember that if it isn't you, it's going to be somebody else.
Absolutely.
So why not it be you? Like you have to keep, and people tell me, oh, you're so confident. I'm like, I do it scared out of my mind. I do it without even knowing what's there, but all I know is that I just have to keep doing it, and I have to keep moving forward. And that because I am a believer, I always say, well, God will catch me. And my prayer every day is, if it's not meant to serve me or my community, please move it out of my way. And if he's showing me inklings so I just keep moving forward, and that's all you can do.
I wanted to ask both of you, what does moving past that fear look like? What does it look like for you? Or what tips do you give people? Because fear is something that's crippling. And I'll give my tip last. But fear is something that's crippling. And actually, when we were looking for the people to be on the panel, Joelle saying actually prompted me to do something I'll tell you about after. But what does that process look like? And can both of you give advice on how to move through it fluidly? I know you said you pray for God to move things out of the way that doesn't serve you. But even before you get to that point, when that moment happens and there's an opportunity to buy this magazine, there has to be some type of fear. What if I fail? What if I spend my money? How do you move past that? Girl, when it's like, do I go back into the finance? This is safe. This is, I don't know this territory. Do I dive in or not? How do you move past that? What does that look like for each one of you?
Do you want me to go first, or
you can start first.
Because mine involves some profanity. So.
It's a safe space. We're all over.
I was just gonna say, because I'm like biting my tongue. I curse like a sailor, but I'm a prayer, but I curse like a sailor. I have some funny like little tidbits that I do. I always, if you could imagine, I have a colleague that, the Jolly Green Giant. I make, it's like the Incredible Hulk, right? When I am about to go into a situation that I am literally scared shitless out of my mind, I just, I grunt and I get myself to a place where there is no time to think about it. Because if you think about it, it will always be no, and it will always be, I'll try again tomorrow. No, in the moment, sometimes like the saying says, opportunities are bold and you got to grab them by the hair. I do what I do scared shitless every single day, because especially through COVID, I'm going to tell you this. Literally, I bought this publication officially in August of 2019. August 1st was when I became CEO, editor-in-chief, etc. We were projected to just expand, broaden, bring on new clients. And March 13th of last year, in a matter of 48 hours, all of the accounts that I had worked so hard to get began to email and shut down and close contracts. And I literally began to see what I had climbed up in a matter of 48 hours begin to do a nosedive. And my heart, my gut, my vision, right, was crumbled to the ground. And I remember having a snot on my knees, crying, coming to Jesus moment, because it was like that. It was my fugly. It was my fugly. What the fuck am I going to do? What the fuck am I going to do?
Absolutely.
I have people who rely on me. I have employees. I have a staff. I have my own bills. I have my family. And I have this negotiation with my life partner that I said, I promise you this will change our future, right?
You
this was a whole conversation. Correct. And if, I'm fortunate, and I know that not everybody has one. I'm very lucky to have a life partner that supports me as much as he possibly can, without the dog, of course, in this process, in this journey. But we co-parent, like he's been awesome through it all. So my biggest letdown in all of this was, oh my God, I invested literally everything in this dream. And here we are. And literally 3-4 days later, after I had my woe is me moment, let go and let God, right? Immediately, things began to slowly shift and just change my own vision of what the future could look like. It really cemented what we now stand on, not just as a company, but what our publication builds on. I heard you talk about before, Joelle, small businesses and women. And, one of the things that Bella had always lacked before I took over was and diversity, inclusion. We had the fact that we had never featured an Asian person was beyond me. We just did that in January and our issue completely sold out. Because of that, we had never featured an African-American woman, which was and I see
Megan Good on the cover.
Well, it's been multiple since I took over. As a Latina woman myself, it was a disservice to my own community. We took on the racial divide last year, the political climate. For anyone who believes that fashion and beauty can't change minds, let me tell you, you have another thing coming. It affects absolutely everything that we do on a daily basis. It has the ability to influence, to shift minds. When we featured Tabitha and Choice, both in their natural hair, I cannot begin to tell you the amount. I get actually chills because it brought me to tears. The amount of messages that we got from women of color saying how incredible that finally a publication is just letting us be who we are and not telling us to go and comb our hair a different way. And that for me has been honestly the biggest gift that this publication has given me, is just that ability to just showcase women as they are, for who they are. And, you mentioned celebrity before. Of course, who doesn't love a good celebrity story? But the way that we do it is with a lot of heart, a lot of love. We want the best of these people to come out, because there are some really amazing people doing amazing things. At the same time, we couple that with the ordinary women, men and women in the world who are doing extraordinary things as well. But you do it in spite of the fear. You do it in spite of the doubt. You really do surround yourself. You got to do a cleanup with the people who you're surrounding yourself with, that they're not sucking your energy, but they're giving you energy and life. I have become notorious for
cutting people off. Yeah, you're going to do a lot of that on your
I
rise.
chop
Absolutely.
them. The minute that drama comes in, my immediate team knows I don't do drama. And if the drama comes, I'll give people 3 opportunities, right? Like I'll give them, it's like 1, 2, 3. By the 3rd time, if the drama is still there and we can't get past that and there's no solution, then you can't be in the circle. You can't be a part of this conversation. We got to move on to the next person. And I know that can sound cruel sometimes, but the reality is that this is the nature of life, right? I always say, you wouldn't be doing this to your best friend. Why are you doing it to me? Or
absolutely.
You just got to keep moving forward, and do not allow yourself a second of doubt. Surround yourself with the absolute lunatics that are in your life, that that are as crazy as you are, because they will give you they'll give you fuel, right?
They sure do.
Every person that I bounce ideas off of is literally almost as crazy as I am. And in the crazy, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about risk takers.
Absolutely.
People who literally will, it's like, what are you having for breakfast? Oh, it's fear and doubt and despair, but we're here and we're living it up. And we are making, and I'm dancing the merengue too. Like it is like that kind of conversation. So, and those are the people and they're surrounding you. Just make sure you got to find
absolutely.
them. Stop listening to your BFF. Your BFF doesn't care about your business. It's like, those are not your people.
Wait, what sign are both of you? I got to figure, what sign are you guys?
I'm a Cancer.
Okay, my girls are Cancers. I planned them to be Cancers because I'm a Cancer. I was like, okay. Chloe, what are you?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
Yeah. I'm full fire. I'm full fire. And let's get your tips on how you move past fear, Joelle.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I feel like Vanessa, you curse so I can.
You were just looking for an excuse.
You just gotta tell me, like, can we curse? Yes. Okay. Fuck yes. Okay. I'll go first. No
not giving a shit. Can we say that? I am so sick and tired, especially with women, because I think that we're such incredible beings, and we care about so many people and so many things. Stop giving a shit about people that don't give a shit about you. Period. Right? Like I think about, are you guys familiar with the Lip Bar? The Lip Bar, it's a great makeup company, right?
Okay.
So this girl, Melissa Butler, she founded the Lip Bar. Now she was making lipsticks out of her New York City apartment, right? So she did this on her own for 3 years. Then she finally got some help. Then she gets an opportunity to go on Shark Tank. She goes on Shark Tank. They shit on her company so bad. I mean, it was just like being like beat up by. And what she said to me was, she was like, you know what? They weren't my audience.
Absolutely.
They weren't my audience. And so no matter what I said, it was falling on deaf ears. And I want everybody to really let that sink in. Like, if you are in a place and you have that person who is never going to help you, they don't see it, they don't get it, move on. In terms of the fear, believe in yourself. I know it's like, no, just believe in yourself, because nobody knows you better than you, and nobody can sell you better than you. And you know what? If that thing isn't for you, there's something else out there that is for you, and you have to believe in it. You have to have faith in it, and just don't give a shit. If in your heart you know what's right, go after it. Tell it to yourself, no matter how you need to do it, just do it. It makes me, I honestly, I mentor so many, God, I feel like old now. And I'm like, so many kids with these big dreams.
Girl, I'm a former high school teacher, and my students are like married with children now. Stop it.
Crazy. But it honestly, like, it breaks my heart when I see people get their spirits crushed over people who, like, they just don't get it, or they just don't see it. So, like, you will find your path, and you just have to keep at it. If you want, like, a funny tip, like, if you're, if you got to face somebody, you got to do something. Well, before you do that, put yourself in a room and just dance like a lunatic. Nobody needs to see you. Just do it. Or look in the mirror and you just smile smile. Everybody look at each other and smile for 6 seconds. Go. Everybody in the audience, do it too. Keep going. Okay, you feel better. You have a little more confidence. Like, there are tricks. There are things that you can do as well, but just believe in you and block out the noise, because I know it's out there, and find your tribe. Find those people, just like you both are saying, those people who don't knock you down, who are there just to build you up. Find your ladies, find your crew, and just, the sky is the limit, and there's enough room. There's enough room for everybody.
There's enough space for everyone. Absolutely. I love that you said that, because I feel so many times people think that an opportunity for you is one less for me. And that's not the case. A lot of people's fear also stems from someone doing it before me, or just because this person did it means that it won't happen for me. And that is not true. There is room for everybody. There's room for collaborations as well. So you can do the same thing. And now you guys can have each other's audience, create something together or not. Yeah. But there is space for your tribe and your tribe, because everyone's brand is different. What people have to offer is different. So people will resonate with you different from someone else, even if you're doing the same thing. So that's one fear that I know a lot of people have. And it's that, oh, well, this person is doing it, or this person did it first, so therefore there's no more space for me. There's tons of space for everyone. So block out the noise, move through the fear. And that's one thing I do. I'm like, people ask me the same thing. How are you doing all of this? So for those of you who don't know, I'm a co-founder. I own a music production company. I'm syndicating live from my brick and mortar space, Chloe's Corner, right by the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And people are like, how do you do this? Like, how are you able to do this seamlessly? I said, who said it was seamless? You see the finished product, but that doesn't mean that it was seamless. It doesn't mean that I wasn't afraid. That doesn't mean I wasn't nervous doing my first panel here today with you guys, but I moved through it. I moved through the nerves because I'm so afraid of not doing it. The fear of not doing it trumps everything else for me. Yep. So you guys have to get to a place of wanting to do that particular thing, where the fear of not doing it, the fear of, God forbid, this was my last day on earth, or this was my last year, or you got to get that dramatic with it when fear cripples you. Would I have lived my full life if I never tried? The fear of not trying trumped everything else for me. So I moved through it with the fear, and I used the fear to kind of like you said, push you through, be that adrenaline, if you will. And
good, don't you think? Don't you think a little fear is good?
A little fear is good because it keeps you sharp. It keeps you sharp. Not only
keeps you, but it also shows. I was just going to say that it also shows that you care.
Absolutely, it keeps you sharp. It shows that you care
about the end result. Because
absolutely.
Getting behind that, then there's obviously,
and it'll keep you humble. It'll keep you humble 100%, because the day you no longer have fear, you've gotten to the point where it's like, oh, I've done it again. Yeah. And it's, even if you're an amazing, that's great, but you always have to come from that little bit of fear that, what could I have done to make this better? Even though I like your tip on done is better than perfect. Because our concept of perfect is insane. And in most of our cases, especially female entrepreneurs who have bigger than life expectations and ideas, and our ideas are so good. You are so good already, but we're going to keep putting on, and we want it to be here before we release it.
Yeah.
No, release it and build as you go, because done is better than good. I released a book last week because of that statement that you made. Yes, shout out to Sabina who put us together.
100%.
Sabina told me that was one of the things that you promoted to help people move along. And I was like, you know what, the book is done. It's not the vision that I thought of, but it's done for what it needs to do. And it's perfect for what it can do. So therefore, the next book that I want to do, I'll just write that another time. But this will serve to people who don't know about branding. This will serve to people who don't know the difference between a brand and branding and the components and all of that. This will serve to them. This will help. And then there was still that fear of, did I give enough information? Are people going to get value from it? Are people going to be happy with the end product? I'm going to have that fear every time I put something out. And it's because I care, and that's fine. Just don't let the fear cripple you, you know? So shout out to you, Joelle, for that comment that
tell everybody where they could buy the book.
It's on Amazon. I'll mention it at the end. And we got to being one of the bestsellers in one day for small business. And it's like, it's not those weird niche topics. You know how people put it in like grandpa's? No, we've got to top 20 in startup books, entrepreneur services, and marketing. So
Amazing.
We were in top 100 yesterday, and today we're at top 20 in very, very popular, categories. So I'm excited about that. I wasn't going to do like
everybody. Let's get it in the top 10.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna
everybody we got
a book release and all that stuff, but people have been like, we got to do this, so I'm gonna do it.
Good for you.
I'm excited about it. And
tell us the name of the book.
That's Women. Oh, can someone pass me the book, please? I'm here with my founders. And I also wanted to touch on what you said about your foundation. Everything I do that people see me do, I'm doing it because of the great people who are around me, my founders, my husband, my mom, and my founders were my founders before we had an organization. So what I mean by that is one of the founders has been one of my best friends since kindergarten. Okay, so she held my hand through kindergarten, through marriage, through sisterhood, through motherhood, through being one of the godparents of my kids, right? One of my other founders, which is right here trying to hide, all you see is a hand. Jordan, we became friends. She's also my second child's godmother. And when I say they were my founders before we had something that we founded, is that they helped me find me, right? And they helped me find me. And through all my mad ideas, they never say no. They say, okay, let's just add it to the bucket list because Lisa or Chloe, my real name is Lisa. Some of them call me Lisa, some of them call me Chloe. We are at like 3 million things that we have to get done, but we've already done 1 million, right? We're already successful in 1 million. So let's keep pushing it. And, having those people around you is so important. I decided to write a second book that I'll be releasing too, called The 10 Success Commandments. And it's all my life experiences in these commandments. And something you said, I was writing down, that's why I was looking down, is you cried because this went down and that went down and you felt like everything you've put in was over. And number 9 in the Success Commandments is don't confuse the process with the outcome, right? Because pressure builds diamonds. So you have to go through something to be able to offer something, whether it's a greater service, a greater product, or advice to someone else who's in that situation. Commandment 10 is tell your story, because your story isn't for you. It was that journey was for someone else who's going to be in your predicament, who think they can't make it through. So your experience of going through that fall, getting up, it's not about how you fall, it's how you get back up, is going to give someone else that energy. It's going to give someone else that motivation. It's going to give someone else that strength to do it. So there are like 3 commandments that just happened right in this conversation. Yeah. And I just give you ladies so much kudos for being transparent about it. So many people become entrepreneurs and they're like, that's
what I was just going to.
It's also seamless. And even at the top, it's not seamless.
Yeah. Even I was just going to say that
pinnacle, it's not seamless. It's not easy. And it's never going to be easy. Obtaining, I always say, is easy. Maintaining is the hardest part. You can get there. Staying there is something else, right?
Yeah.
So
I was just
I'm
gonna say that just because I think women, we are more inclined to share about our experiences when we are feeling comfortable in an environment. Going back to what Joelle said in the beginning about not giving a shit, has become more, I've become more comfortable with that aspect of sharing the journey, because more people need to hear about the journey, the process. A lot of people get lost in the shiny object, right? In what you're seeing on Instagram and what you're seeing on social media, and the fact that we can manage to show up with hair and makeup done in a whim. Trust us, this happens by experience. Like, I was literally in the bathroom, like, in 2 seconds, I put on red lipstick because I know this makes me, you can't focus on anything else but my lips, right? That's a trick. That's a trick that you learn. But you have to share warts and all. Like, the warts and all process is just as important as the glory. So that people really see that, this is not an overnight success. This overnight success has taken almost 17 years of my life, so it's really, important that we all share in that.
Absolutely. And I wanted to also touch on something else that you said that motivated me to actually do this book. Well, before that, I like that you guys talk about not only doing something, but being present in the moment and ready for what it comes with, right? So you weren't sure if you wanted to own a magazine, but as the opportunity presented itself, you knew to transition to. And you were already at the top of your career in finance. You had one test to take, like 2 parts to take, and you would have been out of here. But the opportunity of where your heart desires pushed you to go for it. And I always have this saying that goes, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that starts here. Ooh. You guys were already ready here. And once you're ready here, people tell you, like we talked about it, the manifesting part and the vision boards, before you even get there, you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You have to be in a place of knowing this is it. I'm standing in it. So if tomorrow someone gives me this opportunity, I won't take the CPA. I will go this way. If tomorrow this magazine allots itself to me, I won't have to wonder, where I'm going to be for the rest of my career in doing this. I've created my own opportunity to keep me present in it. Yep. So this is what literally staying ready so you don't have to get ready looks like right here. And I wanted to point that out. And I had a funny story about how people think that fashion is like not a big part of everyday life, but it actually plays a big part in everything. Yeah. I came up with this brand morphing course that I'll talk more about at the end because it's one of the prizes for the grants. Because I started off in legal studies and I had like this like mohawk red hair and, the Gwen Stefani pump in the front and like silver feathered earrings, like the Native American earrings. And I was just like so expressive in fashion. And I was a legal studies major and I went to the counselor to get placed. And as soon as I walked in, so proud with my transcript, I got a 3.9, I had gotten scholarship, all that jazz. She was like, the fashion department is next door. So I was like, well, I'm a legal studies major, still with my transcript, my 3.9, I'm wearing that on my chest, right? She was like, step in here and close that door. Come in here, close the door. Close the door. I sit down and she's like, I cannot place you looking like that. This is law. You have to go color your hair brunette or black, suits, grays, navy blues, browns, and blacks. And my smile just started deteriorating and I just started to feel real little, because I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger. Actually, I wanted to be Cruella DeVille, but that's a whole nother story. But I knew I loved law and I still do love law. And that moment of my love for fashion and expression would cost me my career was real for me. Mm-hmm. And I went to get my hair weaved. I got a weave put in, covered, all the red. because this thing was bleached, then colored red. So there was no like, putting black on it, it would turn another color. And as she was weaving my hair, I was crying hysterically. And she's like, well, why do you not like the hairstyle or what's going on? And I said, no, it's beautiful. It's just not who I am. I got the job. And after a while, like I'd say about 30 days, I felt like I was drowning. It was everything that I wanted. I got, to give input. They gave me discovery and acts, everything that I wanted to build. But that self-expression that was taken from me, that part that I love about fashion and it just trumped everything else. And I became a serial entrepreneur.
I'm telling you, you can't be you.
I can't be me. I have to be this to be successful. Because I love this means I don't have value in this system. And I started my brand morphing course as an entrepreneur to have people serve as their authentic self. That's what brand morphing is. That's what my course is about. That's what the guide of the components you need to apply it there for the book is about. And that story is where it started from. And it's so funny you said that, because my love of fashion really was a wedge of me trying to figure out, like, do I have to not be this or to be this? And for a while it did, that voice was smothered. I didn't color my hair. I didn't wear bold colors for a while. And then, I went from Lisa to Chloe Love and it all came back. Yeah. And I wanted to give people that liberation and to break those status quos of, if you have tattoos or if you like bright colors, or that doesn't mean that the value of what information you have is less. It just means that you may have to create your own situation to showcase yourself instead of waiting for someone else to give you an opportunity. So I wanted to mention that part. And for anyone here who feels like, I don't look like this, so I can't be that. I don't speak like this, so I can't be that. I don't align with this and what they say. This all BS. It's all BS. Whatever information you have, whatever your knowledge, whatever your service, it's unique to you and your journey, and it can't be replicated anywhere else. So sometimes, guys, we can't wait for an opportunity for those who are not like-minded or who don't understand. You have to create the opportunity and serve those who are like you. Serve those who are being underserved because of the things they like, and create situations for them. You have to lead when people won't lead you to where you want to go. So I just wanted to bring that part in. And do you ladies I want to open up the floor to questions, but I want to know if you had anything else that you wanted to say before we opened up the floor to questions.
I think it's just kind of like going on everything that we've been saying. Like, the truth of the matter is, like, yes, like Vanessa said, overnight sensation, 17 years in the making.
Yeah.
And for the most part, like there are like more messy days than there are not days, especially after this year, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. And like, even just looking what people respond to on social, like, nobody wants that just like beautiful, perfect, this and that.
Yeah.
Like there's only one you. I hate when people, because of what I do, but I want to be the next Oprah. I want to be the next Ellen. There's already an Oprah.
Be the best you. Be the next best you.
Right, like you be the next you. Like I can't
Great advice.
enough, and just embrace the mess.
The process.
You know what I mean? Like it makes those other moments even sweeter. And
absolutely,
and sometimes you don't understand how badly other people need to hear about that too. Just being like,
absolutely.
Hey, I'm not alone.
Okay, yeah, I can make it through it. I can. It will get better. That's definitely important to share.
Better get better.
It's definitely important to share. But when you align with whatever your passion is, those hard parts just make it worth it. It's like, if you're doing something you hate and it's still those other things, then just leave that alone. But when you love it, it makes it worth it when the reward is at the end. So just make sure that you guys align with what your passions are, if you're putting that kind of sweat equity and emotion into it.
Amen to that.
Vanessa?
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like, at the end of the day, I've always said, if I have to become the poster child for what, a depression manager, because I've managed depression since the age of 13 myself, what a mental health advocate and a mother who is just pursuing her passions and trying to raise a family and trying to look cute in the process. Like I am game because I feel like, we need to just get really honest about what the journey of life is. Like this division of professional and personal, like this is my life. I think one of the proudest moments in my career and in my personal life have been when people have met me, whether they followed me on social media or have heard me speak somewhere, and they said, oh my God, I feel like I've known you. It's because what you see is what you get. This is who I am. It's who I am today. It's who I was last week. It's who I'm going to be, obviously with a couple of improvements here and there. Just, I like the fact that you said I didn't look 42. But I'm going to take that. I'm going to take note on that and see and do more of that. Right. But the reality is that we need to do this for each other. When this whole faking it till you make it, has to, I think we've all realized in time that it doesn't serve anyone. This whole struggle of aspiring to look like, to be like, dude, be yourself. Bring it. That's you. Be the best you that you could possibly be, and you're going to attract what you are meant to attract, because that is you're not meant to be anything other than who you are. And that's really it. I've always operated from a place of authenticity. It took me a while to really get really real with myself. Absolutely. And know that was okay. And that's what we're here to do for each other. And it's like, my thing is, and if you get to know me even more, because you know that I'll call you out on your BS, because I will. Just like I expect someone to call me out on mine, because again, we are supposed to do that for each other, and not
one of my best friends is a Cancer, more like my sister, one of my fairy godmothers, and she will definitely listen. Listen, she keep me sharp, man. She keep me sharp.
But I have a friend who took us a while to get into the groove of an actual friendship, because she took everything I said person, and I said I literally must be the only real friend you have, because I will never let you go out like that. I would never let I'm being like has no one told you that?
No one has said anything. No one
in 30 years, no one has told you that you need to paint in your eyebrows. Eyebrows are part of your face, and I'm joking around, but the reality, you can't wear that, that color doesn't suit you. I am that friend. I am. So if you need a friend like that, hit me up, because
tell them where to reach you. Where can people follow, or where can they find you?
Vanessa Kappas, or bellamag.co, or ETT Women, which is also my my women's organization. So that I co-founded with a dear friend. So but Vanessa Kappas is where you'll hear. I got more jokes. I got jokes today.
Okay. And where can we find you, Joelle?
Instagram tends to be the best these days. Joelle Garguilo. God, I feel so boring.
Oh, stop it! You're amazing. You're totally
definitely
amazing.
Are amazing. So let's open up the floor to questions. Questions, everyone.
What would you tell your younger self in this pandemic who wants to get into business?
So the question is, what would you tell your younger self in this pandemic who wants to get into business?
Into our business, like media business?
Or is it media business or business in general? Just business in general. So we'll start with Joelle this time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's never been a better time than now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, for the most part, most of us don't have to be sitting at a desk with her boss watching how many hours we're actually dedicating to our job.
Tell you the job.
Let's be real. If there was ever a time to try to make that side hustle a reality, get it right now. It's never been easier. If anybody out there is looking to get into media, or wants to be on TV, wants to pitch something for a TV, again, I would say there's never been a better time than now. Right now, we are all communicating communicating with one another on
Yeah.
either cell phones or our computers. You know, I posted an interview I did with Bob Odenkirk. Like, I was in a room with Bob Odenkirk yesterday, and then Justin Thoreau. I mean, like, by a room, I mean they were on a computer. I'm on a computer. You're doing all of these stories. All you need is a computer or a phone, and you could do it. And like, I'm just going to say again, like, screw it. You don't necessarily need the big corporation. If there is something that
Absolutely.
you want to do, these things have democratized everything now. Just do it. Like, just do it. Don't wait. Just get started. Because you know what? Like, right now, maybe not that many people are watching, and that's great. You can make mistakes. Make those mistakes. Make them now. So once you get to that bigger platform, you're just prepared and you're ready for it. But like, you don't need everything that you used to do. Like, learn, again, you said Google University.
Absolutely.
Learn how to do it. Learn how to do everything in the craft that you want to be in. Just do it. Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
it's easy
Do you
now.
need me to repeat the question, Vanessa? Or you got
No, I would say the same thing. I mean, there are so many industries that are genuinely thriving right now, and it's because this has been the perfect time to just there literally is. I think this year, what if it's taught us anything, is that it's do or die with anything
Absolutely.
that you
Literally
have
what I was
intended
gonna
to
say.
do. Like, it's do or die. And because at the end of the day, what I have taken away from this is that if you are not doing what you've been wanting to do, we've already seen that our world can literally shift in a matter of 24 hours.
Absolutely.
And if you had not been risk taking before, like, if you are not taking risk, and it's like, trust me, the universe will find a way to catch you in all of this.
Yes.
I started, my business with you spoke about a severance package that you had, and you just said, I had a measly, and I say measly, Dad, don't take it for granted. I know you worked very hard for my measly little inheritance that I had, from when he passed away, which when you translate the pesos to dollars is really not a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that's what I did to start my website and kick off my blog. And use your phone. I have been so heartened by seeing women who were so fearful before to get in front of a camera and have decided now, because Zoom has forced us to, right? Like, we're on Zoom every single day. So don't tell me that you don't have on camera experience. You're literally on it how many times a day, on meetings, on calls, on doing this. So now you do have the experience, and just do it. Just get out there. There are so many different ways to just start, just get it going.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say for those who, whether you're in media or not, what the pandemic has caused is that the whole world's watching, because there's really nothing else to do. You can't go outside. You can't gather the way that you used to. So as we spoke about before, create opportunities for yourself. If you have a service, but you don't necessarily want to be in media, use the media, use the internet, use the fact that people are inside to still create content on whatever it is that you want to put out there, because this is the time where everyone has time. Like, everyone has time to be watching now. So you want to learn tips on creating media that translate well on the internet or on IG or wherever you promote your services or your products. You want to take this time to work on your products, because like Joelle said, even if you have a 9 to 5 and you're working from home, no one's over your back to see, what you're doing every minute of the day. So you want to take this time to really invest within yourself, because as Vanessa says, if this was ever a time to wake you up on life, on am I doing what I really want to do? Is this how, if God forbid today or tomorrow was my last day, have I really tried to do what I wanted to do? This is the time. So this should be that push to get into whatever that business is that you want, to create the content around it, to serve the people who needs to see it and align with your company. That would be my advice to the younger me right now during COVID.
I'm jealous of the younger me during you know what I mean? Like, the one with no kids during COVID is coming out of this thing like like, 2 sizes smaller. They now know 7 languages. Like they're just living the life. And then there's like the ones with kids, and we're like, oh my God. Like if I didn't think maybe I would get up, like they would be unbuttoned because of that situation.
That's funny. It's great.
Double question.
Okay.
What advice would you give women on building a brand, and what do you think of brand collaboration?
What advice would you give on women building a brand, and what are your thoughts on brand collaboration? We'll start with you, Vanessa.
The advice that I would give to a woman building a brand is that the first thing I would tell you is that you have to realize that you are your brand.
Chapter 3 of my book.
You are, so there is, again, it is not disconnected from you. It is a part of who you are. Mm-hmm. And the first exercise in brand building that you should do, it's actually something that I learned when I worked with a branding coach many years ago when I started my business, was to really look for a group of 10 to 12 people of your peers. Mm-hmm. Not your best friend, not your mom, but people who will speak honestly, objectively about you. Yes, you can, out of those 12 people, it could be a close friend because they will probably give you some honest, but somebody who you know will tell you the truth, right? Mm-hmm. And you ask them questions with regards to how they see you, why they think you're reliable, just like very overview questions. And then, what is the thing that they always come to you for, right? And that those words, those answers are literally your brand. And it's your brand messaging. And it's a very useful tool that you can take with you when you're crafting your mission, your vision, your mission statement, and all branding blurbs that you can, create from the verbiage that your peers are literally giving you. So, that was like the first piece of advice. And obviously, as you continue to grow it, you will find, you're going to find other colleagues that will have other things to say about you, your reliability, your resilience, your public speaking, yada, yada, yada. But to get started, that was like one of the easiest things to do. And you'd be surprised how much people have to say about you. And you're like, oh, okay, probably shouldn't have asked you, but okay, no problem. And then brand collaboration, I am all for it. We talked briefly about before, the not taking away part from one woman or another. I think that, again, community is key to anything. You can't do this on your own. Like you need people to buy your products. You need people to buy your services. So you have to, at some point, play nice in the sandbox and, find more friends and then move to another sandbox, right? And find even more friends and then come back and have that first sandbox introduce you to 2 more, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to find ways, even if they're doing the same thing you're doing, to collaborate and ways that you can work together, because there's always a way. And be empathetic, compassionate, and just collaborate, just work together in community. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, I think you answered that great. Joelle, what would be your advice? Do you need me to repeat the question?
No. So we were talking about like building your brand.
Yeah,
right?
and brand collaborations is the second part. What is your views on that?
Sorry, like speaking of brand collaborations, I just put on press-on nails. I don't know if you guys could see these, like press.
Oh my God, you're hilarious. You're so funny.
A brand collaboration with them. Okay. I'm being totally real. Like the whole branding and brand thing, it was a struggle for me because, so I'm a reporter. And so, yes, I cover female-centric stories. Yes, I cover small businesses. Yes, I cover Broadway when it's off of its intermission. Yes, I cover entertainment. I cover these different things. So it's like, everyone's always like, you need a niche. You need to pick one thing. You need to do this. You need to do that. You know what? Fuck that. Because
yes, I love it. I love it.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's
just stop that. But What's helped me is, okay, so when I leave a room, like how do I want people to feel after me having been in that room? And what do I want them to say about? And for me, with whether it's a room that I leave, or or a story that I get to do, or whatever it is, my personal or professional life, I always want to leave that room just like with people feeling a little bit better than they did before they saw my story, or before before they saw the interview, before they saw that. And like for me, that's been really helpful to be like, oh, that's my brand. Like we're talking before everybody came on, and I just got back from a funeral, and it sucked. My uncle died from COVID, and he was young, and he shouldn't have passed. And I come from a huge Italian family, and so when there is love, there is drama. And so like for me, when the priest said, like, does anybody have any words, and it's like absolutely silent, I'm like, it just snaps in. And it was like, we can't say him in front of a priest. And then all of a sudden, like, all of like, it's like the icebreaker that everybody needed.
Yes.
I just hate fighting. I hate any of that. I just love, the point is, if you don't know what your brand is, or, if you confused just as I was, think about how you want people to feel after having,
Beautiful
been
answer.
or used your product or heard about your story, and whatever it is, like that's your brand, right? I know there's like definitely like a technical definition of it, but
no, I definitely. And where are you on brand collaborations?
Listen, I'm a newbie. I'm just getting into that freelancer lifestyle. So you guys,
but you love it.
I'm all ears. No, like, I don't know. I would just say, again, I can't act like I have a lot of experience with that, because I don't, but just with brand collaborations, like do something that aligns with you.
Absolutely.
Like I put it out into the universe. I was like, I want to do some brand collaborations. And the next day I saw an email. It was like, how did they know? It was for vibrators. And I was like, listen, like, I can't be putting vibrators up on my Instagram. Like,
I can't do it.
Well, I think I got that same email, and yes, I'm doing it. So
good for you. Good for you.
Said, well, I'm doing it. Okay.
Mom's on my page.
Yes.
No, but to your point about, because brand collaborations, I mean, that's how I started my blogging career and whatnot. You said something very important, is it has to be in alignment with who you are.
Absolutely.
Also, I would never, and I think that's the respect that I have from my audience, is because they know that I've used it. They know that I've slattered it on. I've tried it on. And if I get sent something and it sucks, I just won't talk about it. I'll send the product back and I say, thank you very much. This is just not something that I think we can work together on. But 100%. I will never, while the brand collaboration money can be great, your integrity is worth even more, and so is your reputation, and so is so I never, I'll eat it and I'll try it. If I don't like it, I'll throw it away. Thank you very much. No, thank you. This, I'll say, is amazing. It really should be in alignment with who you are. Otherwise,
doesn't make sense.
So
So I loved what you both had to say. My brand, as you know, has a lot of components to it. So I got that same, you need to get more niche, and I'm just not with it. So when you're dealing with things like that, or what your niche is because you've asked those questions, which creates brand clarity. You create opportunities for yourself. Like I said, you brand yourself the way you want people to experience you. And that's called brand experience. And the brand experience that people can expect will build your brand's integrity, which will give you the value that you need, which will put you at the equity that you want. So I say that to say this: if you have a lot of things going on, what did I do? I coined myself the Renaissance woman. That's someone who has different components moving in their careers or in their lifestyles or whatever they've accomplished, but they don't necessarily connect. Some may be in music, some may be in corporate, particularly mine is in music and in corporate. You hear a lot about Renaissance men, but for some reason it's silence on Renaissance women. So I refer to myself as the Renaissance woman. I don't allow people to tell me I have to be in a box or I have to be more niche to this. I created the brand experience, as Joelle said, that I want people to have when they come in contact with my brand. I created what that looks like to me and what that sounds like to me. I've asked the questions, like Vanessa said. Well, sometimes I don't have to ask the questions because my foundation will tell you what it is that you need to be doing. You haven't written that book yet? Well, you have this, that, the other to offer. So you need to be pushing that forward. You're the Renaissance woman. Well, how come we haven't heard this out yet? And you need to be up, so when working on your brand, you have to be around people who will be honest with you. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to know what you want your brand's experience to be so that you can package it the way that it needs to be. And your brand integrity will always be solid. And to make sure that's not compromised, yes, you can do brand collaborations, but it can't be anything that goes against your brand values. And value doesn't just mean money. It means what your brand stands for, the other part of integrity. So I gave this example, like I love diamond teeth, right? So I'm like, I'm going to get some fronts. I don't care if I'm 38. I'm going to do all this, whatever. So if someone wants to sign me for $3 million, but they're like, you can't wear those diamond teeth, does that compromise my brand's integrity when my followers know that I'm authentic to everything me? Well, it depends on what the situation is. If it's a toothpaste company, well, what they're selling is the teeth. So that makes sense. But if it's because they don't like the urbanness of it or the what it comes with, then that's not for you. And as Vanessa said, people buy into you. Your tribe is there because they believe in you, that credibility. And if that credibility breaks, the integrity of the brand falls. So make sure that you stay true to all those things, even brand collaborations. Don't just look for the money, but make sure that integrity stays strong.
I saw two vegan influencers like putting like beef jerky and like and I'm like, come on, you hold on.
They got paid good. They got their coin.
I had grass for breakfast, but let me tell you
about this new beef jerky that's out. Grass-fed cows.
An example of off-brand.
That was a great example.
Funny. That is so
you know
funny.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? What's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
How to put your story to the media?
Okay, so one question we have is how to pitch your story to the media. Well, that's we'll start with Vanessa.
Here's a really interesting, I guess, anecdote to that. The first thing, because a lot of people think you have to have like a PR person that crafts your story properly so that it's all about getting the reporters, for me, attention in a timely fashion when they're looking for something specific, or it's about just having developed a relationship with that reporter, whether it be through social media or, you've met them and you followed up, et cetera, et cetera. But what the key point here is timeliness. Sometimes, sometimes I'll get pitches about a brand who has incredible stories, but then in their pitch, what they're telling me is how many times they've been featured in other media outlets. And that has nothing to do with your story. Like, that's awesome that you were, featured 20 times in different outlets. I'm not going to write about how many times you've been featured in another outlet. I'm going to write about you. So find, and trust me, your story can be crafted to fit into literally every national holiday, everything that is happening, as long as you are tweaking it every single time. Sometimes you craft a pitch that may have worked for one outlet. It doesn't necessarily mean that same pitch is going to work for another one. So make sure that you're tweaking, make sure that you're paying attention to who you're writing. Sometimes and listen, my email is available. Like I don't have red tape around me. It's vanessa@bellamag.co. You can pitch me a story. I'll put out queries for like Women's International, International Women's Day. We were literally featuring women every single day on all of our digital platforms. And, then you should have seen how many weird pitches I still got. And it's like, we're talking about women. So maybe tires is really not, what you should
absolutely being current with what's going
pitching
on.
me, pitching me about right now. It's addressing the reporter in the correct name. Sometimes I'll get pitched. Somebody's thinking they're talking to somebody else and they're talking to me. And it's not because I'm the editor in chief, but if you're pitching me a mind and body story, I probably will defer that to my mind and body editor. And another thing that I will say is just because it may not have worked in round 1 doesn't mean it won't work in round 2. Never give up. Follow up. The key is in the follow up. I just was speaking to someone in a PR marketing group that I belong to that is getting featured. I believe it's in Good Morning America for something. And it took her 2 years to finally get the attention of that specific producer for this specific story, etc. So don't give up in the follow-up. A lot of times the disappointment of the no outweighs the potential of you getting featured. I've had people that will just email me, hey, how are you doing? Hope everything is well. It's something that, believe it or not, works, right? Like, oh my God, it's been 3 months. This person has literally emailed me every week for the past 3 months. Like, well, it'll eventually trigger, because you have to understand that reporters are busy, just like we all are. But I personally get close to 700 emails in one day. It's a lot. Like, it's so many emails that it's not that I'm not paying attention, is that I am focused on the task at hand that day. And it's not that your story isn't compelling or interesting. It's just not working for me today. But if you follow up with me next week, or next month,
keep on. Yeah, just be persistent in it.
Is there a subject that gets your attention if somebody pitches you? Is there a certain
good question?
Here's
the thing. My sweet spot, my heart melts when it's a woman entrepreneur that is literally because been there, done that. I'm still there doing that. Mothers have my heart. I know how hard it is to build businesses while raising a family. Obviously, immigrants, Latinos, people of color, anything. The underdogs really have my heart. So it's a matter of just us finding. See, our publication is thematic. So, and here's the thing, all of that information is on our website. So you can always find, and if we're focused on beauty, why are you pitching me about tires? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if our theme is beauty for the next 2 months, make your pitch fit what we're working on, so that we have a better just understanding of your story, and we can make it fit into what we're working with. And it doesn't mean that it might not work for, again, something in the future, but if you tweak it to where it's fit to the current of what's happening in the world, you have to know who you're pitching to. You have to know the outlet you're pitching to. So get to know that a little bit before before you start firing, BCCs to every reporter that you connected with over the past 20 years. That doesn't work. Has never worked, will never work. And a lot of people get offended. They're like, look at this person sending me a mass email, and they'll just delete you out of your inbox. Make the extra effort to make a personal connection, and 9 times out of 10, you'll get more the attention of that reporter than you would anywhere else.
Vanessa, what's your lead time in terms of, like, if people are pitching things that are timely, how much?
If it's for print, we are typically working on an issue. For example, right now we're working for May, June. And our deadline's cut off in mid-April, because then we go to print and that's it. But if it's for online, we receive pitches for online on a daily basis, and it's just a matter of making us making that work for what we're working on online. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Next question.
Okay, so this question is for Joelle.
Wait, and can I just add one thing just for the broadcast side?
Sure. Yes. Sorry about that.
I can't I can't claim to be able to speak for anything digital related.
But
for the broadcast side of things, timing is everything. Do not pitch anybody while their show is on the air. Often that will get deleted immediately. I think the sweet spot, if you're doing a live show, would be about like 7 to 11 minutes once the show is off the air. I think that's really big. When you are crafting your pitch, stop yourself, read it out loud. Does it make sense? Is it succinct? Right? Like, because if you get a long pitch, it's like, wait, hold on a second. Just like Vanessa was saying, I get like hundreds of emails a day to the point where I'm like, I miss so many of them. Be short, sweet, and to the point, and read it out loud. Read it to somebody. Do they understand it? Can they see it? If it is for broadcast, can they visualize it? Because it can't just be an interview for the most part. Like, it has to be some sort of visual. So are you going to bring it to life with graphics? Are you going to bring it to life with B-roll? If this is product based, can you shoot the B-roll? Can you let them know that you could shoot the B-roll? Can you give them an example, a quick link of something that you've done similar? You know what I mean? Do a little bit of research for wherever it is that you want your pitch to land. Know the names of the people who work on there. If you could even just mention, like, such a big fan of the show, I love the piece that you did. Don't say one yesterday, because that might be bullshit. But like, oh my God, I love that story that I saw with, blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
People in this industry, for the most part, are pretty vain, and so like they love to know, like, oh, you like me, hair extensions, and it's like really weird. So I'm not used to it. So if I keep going like this, it's because
okay.
But so just like no, I've given this advice to like a lot of people, and they had initially pitched people crickets, and then just did their research on the show, the magazine, or the person who they were pitching. And now they have gigs, and that's awesome. It's awesome. If you can make somebody's job easier for them, because that person, for the most part, like, not everybody is a Vanessa. A lot of people need to get something approved by a boss. So now you pitched me. I need to understand it. I need to comprehend it. I need to see it. And now I need to convince somebody else.
And I approve everything. Like, there's not a pitch that doesn't, because I will never claim to not know what is being featured on my website. Like, I approve everything. And before I forget it, I'm sorry that I'm jumping in, because this is important. For the love of Jesus and everything holy, take a decent headshot. Take a decent headshot. No, not your selfie at your girlfriend's party
with the arm in it,
that you cropped out and there's somebody's shoulder because you look cute. That is not a professional headshot. If I can't print it, it is not going into the mag. It's not happening. Like, it's not a cell phone shot. It's a confirmation from the dog.
Uniqua said it's the confirmation from the dog for me. I love it.
Listen, you don't know how many times I've gotten a pitch of a remarkable story, and then this person, for the life of me, cannot give me a picture to go along with their story. And I can't talk about you if we can't see you. So, but I need to be able to see you. I know it sounds petty and funny.
No, but this is true advice.
But this is the truth. And any reputable publication will not print a low resolution, blurry image of you in high school. Like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop it now.
Could you tell them your email again, Vanessa?
Vanessa@bellamag.co. And I am looking at your picture. And if it looks like your yearbook picture, you are not going to be in Bella. I'm telling you right now. Just because I'm keeping it real here.
Together.
It is the truth. You have to. One good shot, one good picture.
All you need is one shot.
That's all you need is one shot. And listen, if we're gonna go further into branding, you should be taking one good picture every year. You change your hair, you cut it differently. You redid I redid my eyebrows. I'm like loving my eyebrows now.
They look great.
Hello, microblading. This is like my new thing. But you need to, because there is nothing more awful than, because it's happened. You see somebody's social media profile and then you go to meet them in person and you're like,
this ain't the same person.
What?
Got catfish.
And yes. And please invest in a good headshot also. And I'll shut up now.
No problem. Let's go on to the next question. We have a few of them coming in, so we're going to run through them.
Okay. Do you have any regrets and have you made any choices that you wish you could tweak or change?
Do you have any regrets, and do you have any choices that you wish that you could retweak or change? Let's start with Joelle.
God.
Just cuss. We know you just want to cuss it all out.
Okay, regrets are tough, right? Because I think when situations happen, I do think, like, for me personally, I think that I've gotten stronger. I've gotten a lot stronger because of them.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I had some things happen to me, which were really fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, and like, and it was from a boss, a male boss, and things that weren't right. And hold on, so someone's knocking. Gee, is that you? Okay, hold on, baby. And I wish I would have said something sooner.
Okay.
Like, something was done that really just wasn't right. And I was younger. I had actually just had that little one who's going to be 6 soon. But I wasn't as strong as I am now. And I wish I would have made a big deal about it, or just like really held the person accountable for it.
Yeah.
But now what do? I try to teach as many women who will listen to me, to make sure that they don't experience what I experienced. And if they do, that they're taken care of.
Oh, that's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. I gotta let her in because she's
No,
We
go for it.
understand. This is a safe place.
Yeah. In my, are you done, Joelle? Because I can.
Yeah.
I would have just started sooner. I would have started sooner. I would have not given security so much thought. I would have just started pursuing my dreams earlier in life, and really given it, my all, as I have once I started from a younger age. I feel like, younger age. I mean, I'm 42, whatever. I just feel like had I had done this 10 years earlier or 5 years earlier, I would have been in a different position. Not so much like financially, because the finance is not my driver. To me, money for me is fuel to be able to do what I get to do, because I get to do this. I don't, this is an opportunity. But I would have started sooner. And to your point also, Joelle, there's a couple of people, especially in this journey of working in media, who once, because I was a mother, would tell me that I would never get far in this career, because nobody wanted, busy moms in the workforce or in media. And, just last week I got this guy tried to give me slack that, oh, you still have young children. And I'm like, and what does that mean? If there's one thing that I would say, just, to speak up, voice it out also, because you will eventually regret not speaking your truth if you don't, when you have the chance to do so.
Yeah.
I dare men to try to do that shit now. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
So, what I get from this is that everything that was supposed to happen happened. For Vanessa, maybe if you started earlier, before you had some of the life experiences that you had before you stepped into this, it may not have been the same outcome. So you had to be the Vanessa that you were at that moment to seize that actual moment. And for yourself, your situation and what it made you feel allotted you the opportunity to now make sure other women didn't go through that and feel that, and I would a voice for that, and make sure that you not really shove it down their throat, but shove it down their throat. Don't let this happen, because it's something that's hard to live with. And for myself, I feel like, just maybe not speaking up in certain situations would be the only thing that I have regret for. And maybe not regret, because the way that I'm able to articulate myself now, whether it be with or without cussing, I probably wasn't able to at that time. So you just you get small, or you suck it in because you don't know how to express what it is that you're truly feeling, or what that will come with. So that would be the only thing I would tweak, is that I spoke up about certain things that bothered me earlier, and I definitely tweaked it now. So we don't have to worry about that. Let me take the next question.
Vanessa, you talked about managing depression for years.
Mhm.
Was there ever a time when you were depression and stuck? And what were your coping mechanisms you used to get back to your?
So this question is for Vanessa. You spoke about managing depression for years. Was there ever a time where you were in a depression and stopped and got stuck? And what were your coping mechanisms to getting through it?
So depression is something that I manage today, till this day, is something that, I have no shame now in talking about it. And I think that I have done, my due diligence in trying to be as vocal as I possibly can about it whenever I have the opportunity to do so. Thank you. But it's not an act of bravery. It's not an act of courage. It is a responsibility that I feel, in speaking up about it, again, when I get the chance to do so. I think the most important thing that I have done for my mental health is to make my immediate circle aware of signs that I am in a low place. So when when I tell my husband, like, there's keywords, like when I tell my husband it's not a good day, I need your help. He knows what to do to help me through that day and make it lighter, right? I have colleagues and people who work for me who know that there are, and again, keywords, because the conversation doesn't need to happen. Oh, today's not a good, like they already know what's up. Yeah. They know what's up. Things mean. So what they do is there is no questions asked. They pick up the slack where there needs to be picked up, and I can get through that moment. I can get through that day. The bouts don't last as long as they used to now. I may have half a day where I'm feeling, the darkness or whatever. And then I'll shower and everything changes. But there are days that it takes me a little bit longer. It depends. I'm very affected by the weather. It's something that I learned after moving here to the United States, just those, what they call the winter blues. When it's cold out, I am really difficult to be around when it's really cold. But the coping mechanisms have really making people in your immediate circle aware of it. And prayer, meditation, physical exercise. The day that I don't do something that moves my body is a day that will end up catching up with me later. So I know better now to really to hold myself accountable in that sense. But that's taken years of getting myself to that place. Therapy. Is your therapist is your friend, people. Like, stop shaming people who go to therapy every week, every month. I have someone that I have them on speed dial. We need to talk. I have a venting friend. And sometimes that 10-minute vent is all I need to completely shift my energy and take me, out of because 9 times out of 10, it's self-sabotage, right? Like that's what's happening. It's me telling myself a story that is only real in my head. And we have to get really honest about these conversations. Like that person isn't crazy. That person is having a moment of craziness, or however you want to describe it. And you are a better person for helping that person through that moment, as opposed to placing the blame on that person for not being able to manage the feelings that they're going through at that moment. So that would be honestly my my best piece of advice is to ask for help. 9 times out of 10, the people around you know that something's going on. They just don't know what to do. And they're not they're not magicians. They can't guess. So we need to help these people a little bit and to be able to help us. Absolutely. So, but it took me, some time to understand that dynamic, and I don't take any of it for granted. Like, my husband is a saint. He really is a saint. Kudos to him.
Shout out to hubby.
Because honestly, there are days where it's like, it's a bad day and he shows up with dinner, takes care of everything, and I'm in bed curled up in my blanket and I don't want to, and it's and then the next day I snap out of it and it's, go time.
That's
but
life,
it's
the wheel keeps going, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you were so transparent on that. I love the key phrases to allow people to know what's going on, so you don't have to keep repeating the conversation and reliving the moment. Hey, set those things in place, people. I think that was such a powerful piece of advice. Create the keywords, the safety words, the safety phrases, so people know what's going on and how to support you through that. I think that was actually a great tip.
Thank you.
How would you approach being a lifestyle brand?
How would you approach being a lifestyle brand? We'll start with you, Joelle.
Like, I have more questions before I can. How would you approach being a lifestyle brand? Meaning they are like, I need to know more about the brand. Do we know more about the brand? Like, I'm really
that was the short end of the is the. Let's give them a second to. Yeah, so we'll go to the next question and give them a second to answer more. What's the next question?
They say you're the sum of the top 5 people you speak to most. Can you speak to childhood friends and career friends? What approach do you use to choose between what you're closest to as you move to the next level?
They say that you are the sum of the top 5 people that you speak to the most.
Speak to childhood friends and career friends. What approach do you use to choose the women closest to you as you move to the next level?
Can you speak to childhood friends and career friends? And what approach do you use to the women closest to you as you reach to the next level? How do you pick your circle, like your core circle?
I mean, I
your
think
quality circle, I guess, is what they're trying to say, between your friends that you grew up with, your career friends, and where do you find the medium of who belongs where?
It's kind of interesting, right? Like, we all have the people who we grew up with, and those are your people. They will always be your people. But then, just as you change in business, you tend to get like a little bit of a different circle, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm a work wife, and we push each other. We push each other because it's not a jealousy thing, but it's like we kind of drive each other. Like, she sees what I'm doing, I see what she's doing, and we're like, together we're kind of electric. And like, so you kind of keep those people who you're like, wait, we can still learn from each other.
Yes.
Help each other. Like, and I have a lot of people like that in my life. Like, when they're having that bad day and they're ready to go into the boss's office and just like quit, burn the building down. And like, I'm the one who's talking them off the ledge, and vice versa. And it's really interesting how over time, like, you build that trust in those relationships. And I think really it's like finding those people who, I mean, I do believe you need to share some of the same values. I think that's
absolutely.
The people who you're not competitive with, but you envy what they're doing, and like, you guys can push each other, like, parallel. And I've found that so satisfying, satisfying. And it's funny, and it's like for me looking at them, I'm like, wait, how did you do this? And then they're like, wait, well, Joelle, what about that? And it's interesting. Like, we all have our own little magic and our own little superpower. And it's just great, I think, when a lot of that, I don't know, I love learning from other people. And then you also have to just embrace the fact that, like, you are a badass as well. And like, people can learn a lot from you. And it takes a really long time to say it, but I'm like, no, I have 13 years of broadcast experience, like network and local. And it's like, no, okay, all right, yeah, I have something to give too.
Yeah.
I think that's important too, like relationships where it is give and take, because I do have people. And it's been a year. I have 2 little kids. I have another uncle fighting for his life. My uncle just passed. Like it's been tough. And there are those people who just, you realize they kind of just reach out when they need, and they need, and they need, and they need. And you're always giving and giving and giving.
Oh yeah.
And giving. And you kind of get to a point where you're like, hold up. Hold up.
Yeah. Yeah. The glass is almost empty here.
Like, how about how are you? Right. So I think it's just kind of, keeping, knowing who to keep close, and
Yeah.
okay, like most of my best friends, they don't get what I do. And that's we have such special relationships with one another. Everything doesn't have to be a hustle. Like I say this all the time, and I think it bears repeating, like this is a pandemic, not a productivity contest. It really needs to let that sit in, like, because it is kind of hard where it's like side hustle and this and this and that. And like, yes, great, power to you, let's do it. But when you feel yourself kind of reaching a breaking point, give yourself some grace and know it is a pandemic, not a productivity contest.
That's a good that's a good point there, Vanessa.
Yeah, that's great advice. No, I would, I think one of the things that I see a lot of the women in my circle still struggle with sometimes is that in spite of, their accomplishments, they're like hung up on that one friend that doesn't buy from them, or that one friend that doesn't support them, or like you said, that just simply just doesn't understand. And the reality is that, I've taken this quote from Iyanla Vanzant to heart from the moment that I heard it is, you can't ask someone for something that they don't have the capacity to give you.
Absolutely.
So our expectations, right, many times exceed what we feel that person should be, because in your head, you're supportive, you're this, you're that. Why can't that be reciprocal, right? Like why can't there be reciprocity in that relationship? And the reality is, my best friend from high school that I grew up with, that one friend that I sat with at 13, and she told me she was going to become a lawyer, has no interest whatsoever in what I do.
Yeah.
At all. And she made that very, very clear. And she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand it. I would get, what are you doing today? Like these are and I was like, girl, just let it go. When we meet and we get together, we talk about our dreams, our past lives. We talk about shoes. She's my shoe, handbag, hair, makeup girl. Like she is not the person I'm talking to about productivity, resilience, not crying in the middle of the night because I didn't get the client that you know what I mean? Like that she's not the one I'm having those conversations with. Yeah. So as you choose and as you grow, those people will show you who they are, right? Yeah. The people who you can always rely on will always show you who they are. Make sure that you're taking care of those people in your circle, because sometimes we get lost because we get used to that person always being there and we take that person for granted. Don't do that.
Don't do that because you don't like it when it's done to you.
You don't like it when it's done to you. And quite frankly, it serves you to find people outside of those circles to give you feedback that you may not necessarily want to hear or are ready for, because they will keep you honest. They'll keep you sharp. Like you said before, they will tell you things that literally nobody is telling you. One of the things that when I took on I inherited my entire staff when I bought this company. The first thing I said at that meeting, I said, I do not need yes people on this team. Yeah. This is not a yes, ma'am, yes, sir job. I don't need yes people. I need people to call me out on the bullshit. I need people to be transparent. I need people who are willing to do the difficult work that entails talking about difficult subjects, talking about difficult topics, highlighting people in ways that we haven't done them before, in ways that we know need to be done. So if you're all game, I'm game, because that's what I want to talk, like this is how we're going to move forward. And your values are like your your navigation system. Like you'll feel it. That person that only calls when you need them, you're gonna know this. Here we go again. And at some point, you're gonna be like, "Girl, bye." Like I'm done with you. And that's okay. Like, and that's okay too. So, yes, Joelle, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel like both of us were talking about like again, it was because of the question, like our circle and our friends and that. And I think that we should just point out to people, like, if you don't have that, there are so many professional groups now.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that too.
Right. Where, and like some of them aren't even expensive, right? Like, maybe you can't do this one that's $200 a month, but maybe you could do the one that's $39 a month.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Build a network. So
that
if you
way.
have a network, like with what we're saying, don't worry about it. Like there are ones in place that exist.
And that's what Women with Voices was actually founded on. So you're here now. We'll be giving you more information how to become members. And that's exactly what we offer here. Exactly. So that was a good point to touch on. Quickly, I'll give my advice. In my specific situation, I got lucky where my A1s are also interested in everything me. So they're the ones who are going to keep me on point. They're the ones who are going to make sure they tell me the hard things so I don't have to get embarrassed out there while someone else is telling me in an uncomfortable situation. And they're the ones who gather to bring information and resources to whatever the crazy idea is that I'm coming up with at the moment. But I say that to say this: when picking your people, whether you grew up with them or you're just meeting them, make sure that those people see the value in the things that you have to offer. And when I say value, it doesn't mean that they'll make money off of you. It doesn't mean that they're trying to get famous with you, but they see the value in what you're either bringing to community, to their own innovation, and they align with that. They have the same values as you, and they see the value in you. And for the other people, align with those who understand that your best interest is their best interest. And you'll never have to worry about whether or not they're giving you their all or not. What advice would you give someone who want to do travel?
Can I jump? Because I understand it because I have a lifestyle publication.
Travel, fashion, and lifestyle. What advice do you give someone who wants to go that route? So we'll start with you.
So the lifestyle brand building is it's multifaceted. So when you and the thing is, lifestyle influencer, lifestyle publication became buzzy because it basically, it's like an umbrella for all of these other categories that you may want to talk about. Like before, people would categorize themselves as a fashion influencer, and the only thing they would talk about would be fashion, beauty, or food, etc. So when you're talking about lifestyle, you have to get very clear on what that lifestyle is, because you have to remember that not everyone lives life like you do. So you have to, so it goes down to, we talked about niches briefly before, and in anything that you're building, you have to have what they call a brand persona. And I know that in branding process, this. My branding, my branding persona has a name. I know where she lives. I know the kind of food that she's interested, the kind of fashion she's interested, the book she reads, where she wants to travel, the kind of shopper she is. So you have to build a persona, and it doesn't mean that is the only person you are focused on, but it is your main person that you're focused on, because you cannot be all things to everybody. Like that's just impossible. So, Samantha, who's my brand persona, is a savvy consumer, is a mother, is a informed consumer, is a mother, does yoga, likes to eat, healthy, conscious food, but likes to splurge occasionally, loves a deal, loves to travel, is interested, but her travel is different because of her children. So you have to understand that is not the same person as Alisa, who is single with no children, who lives in Soho
and ready to mingle.
Exactly. Like we do not have the same lives. So you have to get clear on the lifestyle. You have to get clear what type of lifestyle are you speaking to, and then do those things, feature those things, partner up with those brands that align with that lifestyle, so that you're able to then, you know, create content, push that out. Because remember, when you say, oh, I cater to women, really? Do you know how many different types of women who are, listen, and no offense to my crunchy granola girls, I'm not a crunchy granola person, you know, like I'm on this diet that I'm on, but I still like to drink my coffee with cream. I gotta take my coffee with cream. I use stevia now, but it was brown sugar in the raw before.
I hear that.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have to really understand who you're speaking to before you then begin to give a message. Yeah.
Great advice. Advice. Do you want to follow up, or?
I also just think, like, I always go back to the phone. Like, it's legitimately never been easier.
Yeah.
And if you can, try to get a little bit creative, right? So, I mean, I love Instagram, but even with TikTok, like, TikTok isn't just people sitting there and dancing anymore. There's actually
absolutely.
It's like really good information on TikTok.
Yeah, good tips up there now. Yeah.
Like, I think everybody's done like the TikTok pasta at this point, like the pasta with the feta and the tomatoes. If you haven't, it's really good. But I
haven't eaten pasta in a month. I'm dying here.
Pasta to poor Vanessa.
The second I'm done with this, I'm going up and I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm exhausted because I just drove 7 hours, but I am looking up that NJ diet. So don't you worry. No, but I just think like it's a very exciting time for someone to start building something. And like, it goes back to what we were saying before, like, don't wait for it to be perfect. Just do it. Just do it. Like 100%. Show people the behind the scenes if you need content ideas. People love that. They love seeing how everything is made. You know, just get it out and be consistent. Really, like there's no secret. Like the real secret is like consistency breeds consistency, and that will gain you followers. That will gain you an audience. But you have to know, just like Vanessa was saying, who you're talking to, because can't be the vegan.
Put the beef jerky. And one of the ways I think that's easy to find out who you're talking to, if you have a lot of ideas and you're putting them out, let's say you have 5 ideas, keep putting those 5 out consistently, and you'll see which one has the most engagement. And then that way it'll help you find who you are talking to or what they want you to talk about. So therefore it's still on brand for you, but you know that this gets more engagement from the people that are following you, and you can build more towards that type of content. Yeah. That'd be the advice that I'd give for lifestyle or anything that you're doing. Just make sure that you pay attention to what gets the most engagement, and then try to bring more of that to the platform. And like Joelle said, don't be subject to just one platform like Instagram. Do your Pinterest, do your TikTok, get out to blogs, and just make sure that you get your voice out there as much as possible for people to know what your vision is on said lifestyle and where they can follow you.
And even with travel, like she said that she was interested in travel too. Like, I would love to see something where it's like, well, here's where you can actually travel to right now.
Yeah. Like, we were talking about that earlier this year, about doing some type of staycation series. But And
it's also perfect for comedy. Like, you know,
absolutely.
Like, I can't travel anywhere, but like, I don't know, like there's room for comedy. Set up your bathroom. Like, it's
to be unique with it and to be original with it.
Yeah. Depending on what your vibe is there's, or like how to travel in your own city. You know, restaurant. Like, you can't.
Absolutely.
But now, like, here's a Cuban restaurant. You can't go to Italy. Here's a good Italian restaurant. Like, there's still ways to get creative, even though you might be limited.
I love that. Yeah. Be creative within something that is already, broad. What can we look forward to from you guys, particular brands, during this pandemic and beyond? We'll start with Vanessa.
Well, I haven't stopped. So if you, the pandemic just has kind of shifted how we do things as opposed to what we do.
Absolutely.
We've been moving full speed ahead. I'm hosting my 4th event my fourth COVID event in April. And Megan Good is going to be joining us virtually. So if you haven't gotten tickets, they're still available on our website to join us and be a part of like a Bella Boss discussion and just a women for women conversation. And honestly, my eye is on the Bella Latina Prize as soon as I can fully launch that in Miami, because it's going to happen. That's where we're headed. And that's that.
All righty. Joelle?
Okay, so I got to figure out how I could work with both of you because I am in love with you guys.
Of course.
So for now, you could still see me on Channel 4 here in New York, in Boston and Philly as well. I think in Connecticut too. But I will be launching a podcast because, I get to do these things for TV. And the thing is, like, you get 3 minutes, 4 minutes to tell a story. And as we could all see from today, like, we could all talk so much more than
2 hours.
We're just
100%. Yes.
Not the medium for TV, but there is a medium for that. So I'm doing that. And I'm also working on a digital course because so many people come to me for media training and I really don't have, I don't have the heart to charge people what my rate is. And B, I don't have the bandwidth. So I'm working on just a kind of all-encompassing confidence on camera, but also how to pitch and like, I know so much stuff and I'm more than happy just to share it. Like, I don't need to keep it in. Like we said, like there's already a me. So like, I really look forward to just helping other people. So, so stay tuned.
Look forward to that. Yes.
Redone too. So, like on a vain note, they're bothering me right now.
Well,
they look great on you.
They do look great. I love them. I really do.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Well, as you guys know, I put out my book, so you guys can go pick this up on Amazon. But some things to look forward to. I have some more books coming out. I have a branding course coming out. It's called Brand Morphing. That was created from that story I told. We have some more things coming with the nonprofit workshops, other events. Chloe's Corner is being rebranded into a media space for content creation and brand development. We got music coming out from Brooke Rivers, some amazing videos and challenges coming out. I'm starting a podcast. It's called Committed to Success with Chloe Love. And it, talks about my journey, as well as I bring other people like you wonderful ladies on to talk about your journey and that commitment to success and what that looks like. And that's about it for now.
Until next week. Tune in.
I feel like everybody needs to put something in the chat. If once during this thing you didn't all think like I gotta go paint a wall yellow somewhere and
and then the grant. Let's talk about this grant. So
yes,
as we know, the Fempreneurship Initiative is my initiative as the founder of Women with Voices. And there were so many ways that I wanted to help women who were female entrepreneurs to bridge the gap between women's businesses that are closing and the ones that are open. So that was the basis of why I chose Fempreneurship, financial literacy, and those things for my initiative in Women with Voices. And I am so grateful to announce that we are giving out $10,000 worth of grants, and it will be broken down as follows. One $5,000 grant to a business that is already established, a $2,500 grant for a business that has started but is looking to expand, and another $2,500 grant for someone who is in innovation and visionary part. You have your business plan, but you don't have the funds to maybe incorporate, get your website, and kickstart. So the actual startup part of it, we're here to help you through. Amazing. You get my branding course for free. You get my book for free. And you also get an hour consultation, which is more than likely going to turn into more. We're talking about me with myself on the things that you can do to expand your brand, the things that you can do to add success to your business and your brand. And we will come up with a plan and milestones on how to execute those things. The rules were, one of the things you had to do to qualify was to show up tonight. So someone in here, 3 people in here are going to get this money, these resources and everything, and probably more, because as I'm speaking to people, more people want to add to what we're giving. So 3 people in here are 3 of the lucky people. We also sent out an email that you have to follow the founders accounts and the nonprofit accounts. So if you haven't done so already, please do that, because that would forfeit you from applying. The last 2 parts are you have to attend my webinar on brand morphing. Since that's one of the prizes, we want you to understand exactly what brand morphing is, what to expect from the course, the dedication or the time that the course is going to take if you do win, and the questionnaire there so that we can get, whatever questions that you guys have. And the last part of it will be that you submit a 3-page presentation. So when I say 3 pages, it doesn't have to be typed out words. It can be PowerPoint, it can be keynotes, it can be made in Canva. And once you get to those other parts that we just mentioned, we will continue to follow up with emails of those who made it through each section on what you need in detail. So the presentation would look something like who you are, what your ideas are, where you are in that process, and where you want to be in a nutshell. But in the emails, we'll give you more details on how to follow that. And if you don't know where to find us, we are Women W Voices on Instagram, womenwithvoices.info on is our website. And I am Cloe Love, no H, CLOELUV on everything.com, on Instagram, anywhere you want to look, you'll find CLOELUV, and it should be me. So you guys, one more time, please tell people where to follow you and to find everything that you guys have coming up. Vanessa?
Vanessa Coppice and bellamag.co.
Yeah, and I'm just dying because Nova is manifesting this. She's going, it's me in here. She learned from you, Vanessa. You got to know who wins too. I'm
manifestation. Put it out.
Yes,
claim it.
Okay, glory to, I'm so invested in all of these. You have no idea.
Awesome.
You can keep up with me at Joelle Garguilo on Instagram, or if anybody wants to email me, feel free. joelle.garguilo@gmail.com. I tend to check my Gmail more than my work email these days, which is not a good thing, but I give my little one my phone sometimes when I need to get work done.
Okay.
And if you send me a pitch, just put the word pitch in the subject.
Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. I want to thank you ladies so much for sitting at this invisible round table with me, this digital round table, and just having transparent, organic conversation that will help so many in this room get through something. It will innovate something, it'll push start something, or to help somebody expand something. So thank you so much for just not sharing the good parts, but the bad parts, and showing how those bad parts become good parts. And I would love to have you guys back for other events and other workshops and things of that nature, and continue to grow and collaborate in sisterhood. Thank you so much for being a part of my first Fempreneurship event.
Thank you for having me.
Drinks. We're all out of the clear. Drinks, lady.
I'm getting my vaccine tomorrow, so I'm good. I'll be good.
Congrats. Right.
Just call me, girl. Call me.
Somebody in this group, I don't know what anybody's doing, but somebody needs to come up with a t-shirt line or something that just says vaccinated or something. Throwing it out there. That's my gift. Somebody.
Okay, fantastic.
You know what I mean? Go hang outside the Javits.
Someone's rich off of that right now.
Maker.
Awesome. All right. Good night,
Have a great night. Thanks
you. Again.
Good night.
Bye-bye.